know everybody got things to get back to. So I'm gonna let y'all get back to it indeed. But the first story I'm gonna tell about when I was in the LA County Jail in 1995. This was on the main line, right? Now you have to remember during this period in time, it was a lot of riots going on between the Crips and the Southside Mexicans. Right now, I highlight out the Crips and uh, them because they called themselves having a so-called green light on the Crips. You know what I'm saying? And they took the opportunity whenever they had to, when they had the numbers to trip. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, when they didn't have it or it was kind of even and shit, it would be more, oh, let's be on some peace treaty shit and talk this out. You know what I'm saying? Well, it came times up in there, you know what I'm saying, where they called themselves trying to put the green light on people and shit. So it was a lot of riots popping off. We wouldn't sit around and wait for them to try to get off on us. You know what I'm saying? You had some motherfuckers that was gung ho, like, you know what? Let's kick it off. Let's go. Point blank, period. I'm not going to be a victim to nothing. You know what I'm saying? Plus, we bang it. You know what I'm saying? If niggas is on the street hard, pushing they line the way that they are, you know what I'm saying? Why would you come to jail and be any different? If anything, you become even more savage because you don't have guns. You know what I'm saying? You can't hide behind no gun in no jail. Period. You know what I'm saying? So in that LA County jail, man, that's why they say that if you survive the LA County jail, you can survive anywhere because that is the worst place on earth that you could ever end up. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much time you looking at it doing, you know what I'm saying? From the time you walk in that door, your life is in danger until the time you walk out that motherfucker. Point blank, period. And that was the true nature of the LA County jail. Okay, so at this time, we having these rides back to back with these dudes. And at this particular time, we had just had a riot with them. You know what I'm saying? Just so happened we had stepped out on the tier, when they let us out to go to the kitchen, right? They opened all the cell doors up. Okay. And on one tier is probably 20 something cells. But in each one of those cells, it's like I said, you got to remember overcrowding and all that. The LA County Jail has always been like that. So you're going to have a 6-man cell. Those are the big cells. 6-man cell, meaning only 6 people are supposed to go in there because they have 6 beds in there, right? Well, uh, you're going to have triple that amount of people in one cell, in each one of those cells. You feel me? So just divvy all that up and just put a nice, good portion of Southside Mexicans in there and a nice, good portion, of Crips and Dalmos. You know what I'm saying? Now, typically it was more Crips than it was Dalmos, right? But they never, they had more of a peace treaty, you know what I'm saying, with the Southside Mexicans. So anything that went down, technically, that's why they would say they put the green light on the Crips, meaning they wasn't doing nothing to the Bloods, and the Bloods wasn't doing nothing to them, and that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? I've told the story about how they were snatching their pocket off the shirt, meaning the Bloods, snatching their pocket off their shirt. You know what I'm saying? Indicating to the Southsiders that they wasn't Crips. So if you see a person coming, or coming about with a pocket on their shirt and they was wearing blue and whites, that they was Crips coming out the gang module to get on them, smash them. You feel me? So bam. In this module though, this all this stuff was going on the main line, like I said, right? Which was on the 2000 floor in the LA County Jail. So bam, we had just gotten to a ride with these dudes. So now you got we preparing for the next thing. We finna get on them again. You know what I'm saying? Because when the first one kicked off, like I said, we all on the tier. You got all these people on the tier. Now, typically, they would be in the front, meaning the Southside Mexicans. They would be in the front of the tier, and then the blacks would be in the back. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't never the mix. You know what I'm saying? Once you come out your cell, everybody go to this. The ones that's supposed to go here, go here. The ones supposed to go there, go there. You know what I'm saying? It was never a mix. You know what I'm saying? So bam. So anytime you got all these people on one tier, that's where a lot of the riots kicked off at. And you're locked. Once you come outside your cell, you standing on the tier, and then there's a gate in front of that tier, right? But that gate is locked. You got to wait for the sheriff to come and open that gate for people to be able to come and go. Other than that, all y'all locked on the tier. So just imagine a riot pop off. You know what I'm saying? It's hundreds of people on this tier, and motherfuckers got knives. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you know what I'm saying? From the once it kick off. You know what I'm saying? And people was getting dragged in these crowds. They getting beat. They getting stomped out. They getting stabbed up. All that. You know what I'm saying? So we had just went through one of those. So now we in the cell strategizing. This is probably like 20 Crips from everywhere. Compton, Watts, you know what I'm saying? The San Gabriel Valley, you know what I'm saying? Lancaster, you got Crips from everywhere in that motherfucker, right? So bam, we all in the cell. We locked inside the cell. Now, in each cell, you know, LA County Jail got bars, you know what I'm saying, going through the cell that locks you in. So anybody can walk by and look inside of each cell. You know what I'm saying? So what we would usually do, especially when we was getting ready to do some dirt, is tie sheets up on the rails, on the bars. You know what I'm saying? So bam, I remember us all being in this cell, and we in there strategizing first. Then we start making the knives, right? We in there making swords. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is mad, niggas is hot, focused, and serious. You know what I'm saying? Once we had the meeting on what we was gonna do and how we was gonna do it, that was locked in stone. You know what I'm saying? Now we on this mission to get this weaponry right. Bam. So while we in there getting this weaponry right, we also got a few young Crips on the bars, meaning in the front of the cell, you know, watching, you know what I'm saying, to see if anybody trying to creep, you know what I'm saying, by and see what we doing. You know what I mean? So bam, I remember we up in there, you know, we in there doing our thing. And I remember one of the Crips in there like, hey man, it's a motherfucker that keep on walking by the cell, like peeking in the cell. So you got another Crip in there, right? I remember the homie from Kelly Park. I can't remember his name, right? So bam, he like a tall ass nigga, tall, crazy motherfucker, right? He was like, what? He like, who is it, cuz? Who is it? So the little niggas at the bars and shit, they like, man, it's some old nigga. He like, it's a nigga, but he old, right? So I'm over there doing what I'm hearing this, but I'm not really paying it no mind. I'm focused on what I'm doing. But what really made me zone in on what they were saying, because they kept, I guess he kept walking back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And what I ended up finding out later on is he was trying to figure out where all the other blacks was, right? Right? He wasn't a Crip. You couldn't come in, you wasn't finna attend that meeting, and you wasn't finna come in and see if you wasn't a Crip. It wasn't finna happen. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't a Crip. You know what I'm saying? So bam, while we in there, we doing our thing. They talking about it, man. I swear to God, this nigga walk by this bar one more time. I'm finna snatch this nigga to the bar, man, and we just gonna stab him all in his face and neck, right? So I'm like, so I put my knife down. I'm like, man, let's see who these niggas talking about, right? I want to see who it is now because they tripping, right? So bam, I go to the bars and I peek out the curtain. And sure enough, and one of the little niggas like, here he come right now, cuz here he come right now, right? So when he walk in my view, I look and I'm looking at him as he walked by. I said, I said, wait a minute, I'm telling them I know him, right? They like, what? What? You know him? I said, yeah, man. I said, I know him, right? I said, this in my head, I'm like, this look like my uncle, but I'm not sure because he looked bad, right? And I ain't seen him since the last time I seen my uncle, man. He had just got out of prison, and um, he had just got out of prison, and he had came out to our house in Morovia, right? And I remember I was walking up the street, and when I get in front of my house, him and my mom's, and I believe my grandmom's, God rest her soul, was standing in front of the house on the porch, and him distinctly because he was only one man voice over there, and it was only one dude, which was him, right? He like, look at him, he gang banging, his pants hanging off his butt, and this and that, and blah blah blah, right? This nigga got a suit on, you know what I'm saying? With his back then, my Uncle Gary used to wear like a perm. You know what I'm saying? Like he old school, old school. But this when I was little. You know what I'm saying? I was young, man. I was probably like 13, right? So bam, pointing out to my mom's now, his pants hanging off his butt. Look at this. And he's standing there in this suit with a Bible in his hand, right? With the perm. Right? So I'm like, I just remember like this nigga. I can't believe he putting this out there to my mom's like that. Then my mom's got the tripping. You know not to pull. You better pull your pants up. You know not to come in my house like that. Don't even come to the into the yard. Pull your till you pull your pants up, right? So I'm like, damn. So bam. So any now fast forward to when I'm in the county jail and I'm peeking through that curtain. I see him walk by. Now he don't look like that. He don't. This is years. Remember, I was like 13 then. Years passed by, 1995. You know what I'm saying? And I'm seeing him for the first time since that day. Right? So bam, I'm peeking off the curtain and he walked by and I look and I'm like, damn, this look like my uncle, but he looks smoked the fuck out, right? So bam, I'm telling the little Crips, I'm like, wait, man, no, 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 we ain't hold up. I think I know him. I think I know him. I said, it looked like my uncle, right? They like, your uncle. I'm like, yeah. So they like, man, you better check and make sure, nigga, because we finna get on him. So bam, when he come back, I'm like, I said, Gary, right? I'm peeking out the curtain. I said, Gary. That nigga looked, he said, huh? Huh? I'm like, yeah, man. I'm telling them in the cell. I'm like, man, that's my uncle, nigga. So they like, oh man, like, man, we was finna straight get him. Now, if they get on him, I got to get on him. You know what I'm saying? But this is before I knew it was him. That's why when they kept talking about it, it distracted me from what I was over there focused on doing. So I go to the bars and I want to see because if they get on him, I got to get on him. Point blank, period. So bam. Once I seen it that it was my uncle, oh no, that's not gonna happen. Right. So um, I talked to him, man. I'm like, look, he got to come in here with us, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna leave my uncle out there, right? They like, man, is he a crip? I'm like, nah, he ain't no crip, nigga. But that's my uncle. He got to come in here, right? So bam, they like, all right, fuck it, cuz. So bam, they get him in. So I'm over here hollering at him. I'm like, man, I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, damn, man, what happened to you, man? So he trying to tell me, his case, what he was in jail for, which was bull. It was some straight bull, right? So I'm like, man, he like, man, call your mama and tell her I love her and this and that and blah, 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 right? So I'm like, man. So moms, if you watch, know you be tapped into the show. If you watching this, tell me if you remember when Gary was in the county jail with me. Man, I got him in the cell with me and we called you on the phone. You know what I'm saying? That was a whole trip. Matter of fact, it was two of my uncles, him and my uncle Robert from Bounty Hunters. You know what I'm saying? They call him Big Two Sweets, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? All the old heads know who I'm talking about. Robert Belcher, that's my uncle. You know what I'm saying? Bounty Hunter Watts. So bam. Then you had okay, so that incident took place. That was with my Uncle Gary, bro, where I almost had to do something to him and shit. You know what I'm saying? But he ended up getting out after that. He had a bullshit case. He was in there for some bull. I'm not gonna put his business out there. Shout out Uncle Gary. You know what I'm saying?